Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for another episode of University Radio Talk. Today we have with us Mr. Andretti Jackson, and we'll be speaking on critical thinking. What are the elements of reasoning? So please stay tuned.
All right, so we've gone through the case study, the decisions of a potential graduate.
Yes.
Can you state the elements of reasoning that you identified?
Okay. The 8 elements of reasoning that I found was purpose, key question, assumptions, information, concepts, inference, and implications.
Okay, great. Um, so what were the evidence of these? What evidences could you identify?
All right. So the one for purpose is that the student wanted to become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
The student stated that he wants to be the CEO of his own company that he started from scratch. Not only does he want to be the CEO of his own company, but the student also wants to do it without a degree, thus making him a self-made entrepreneur.
Okay. All right. What are the others?
All right, the second one is assumptions, which is another type of critical thinking element. So the evidence that was found in the extract is that the student made the assumption that by having a degree, it is difficult for them to have a successful startup or to be a successful entrepreneur.
He's providing a safety net for them.
Yes, basically.
All right, continue.
So the third one is key question. The key question for the student was why he needed to pursue a degree while his dream didn't require it.
All right. How many is that so far?
That is 3.
3?
Yes.
All right, so what are the other 5?
All right, the fourth is point of view. So the evidence is that for the student, there were only 2 emotions, which were both love and anger. The student has stated that fear is not an emotion and that it is only in one's head, so it can be blocked out. The student then went to say that this semester he blocked out every fear that was in his head about everything.
So anything that we believe to be emotions, it can just be boiled down to those 2, love and anger?
Yes.
All right.
Those are the only 2 emotions that were applied to the student in that context.
All right. So number 6?
All right, information. All right, the evidence was that the student failed all the classes in the final term, which leaned towards the student not being able to graduate the university. This was despite the fact that the student was doing well in the previous semesters, and he was also selected to be the valedictorian of the class for the graduation ceremony.
All right. Continue.
All right, the other one is concepts, which the evidence was that the student had only 2 choices, which was to be either become successful or to die. The student had to give all the attention and heart and shouldn't have the mindset about failure. So the example that was given was that there was an email that was sent about how Cortez overtook Mexico by not battling the enemies head on, but rather burning the boats that Cortez and his soldiers came and giving motivational speeches, so his soldiers would have no choice but to fight to overtake Mexico.
So similar to something that we had mentioned earlier. So technically they're giving themselves no option but to go forward.
Yes, basically.
Okay. Next one, inference.
Yes. So the evidence of inference was that the student pointed out that 27 million people watch college dropout Steve Jobs from Stanford in 2005, in which he delivered a commencement address. While the student was not so sure how many people took the advice and followed their hearts, he or she will follow the advice.
All right. What's the last one?
The last one is implications. And the evidence was that the student had to beg his or her stepfather not to disown him because yet he needed a place to stay, and the student only had $500 in his or her bank account, Bank of Nova Scotia account at that time.
All right.
And those are the eight evidence of the elements of reasoning that was pointed out in the extract.
Okay. Great. Let's pause the recording. Okay, so the decision that was made by the graduate can be controversial in a sense. Some people think that what he did was not necessary. But what do you think? What's your opinion on the matter?
All right, so in regards to me, I disagree with the choice that the student made due to the fact that he was 2 weeks away from graduating. And another reason why I disagree with the choice is that he could have just graduated and basically pursue his dream to be a self-made entrepreneur directly after he graduated.
But he was saying that having the degree would kind of provide a safety net that he didn't want.
Yes.
It was used as a motivation in an aspect.
Yes.
For him.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But I see where you're coming from with that. Because indeed, he was only 2 weeks out or 1 semester out from finishing school.
Mm-hmm.
All that money that was put in kind of on God knows where.
Yeah.
So you disagree?
Yes, I disagree with the decision that he made.
All right then. And you already told me your reasons.
Yes.
So we want to thank Mr. Jackson for being our guest today, and we want to thank our listeners for joining us today for another episode of the University Radio Talk.